All right, so the world is crazy, people. Boeing whistleblower predicted his own death, told friend if anything happens, it's not suicide. I think we've heard a few stories like this, haven't we? He wasn't concerned about his own safety because I asked him, Jennifer said. I said, "Aren't you scared?" And he said, "No, I ain't scared, but if anything happens to me, it's not suicide." All right. Boeing whistleblower John Barnett, who was found dead on March 9th from what authorities initially called a self inflicted gunshot wound, reportedly told a family friend after he started speaking out about safety concerns with the airplane maker. If anything happens, it's not suicide. A family friend, identified only as Jennifer, told ABC4, "I know that he did not commit suicide. There's no way." She said that Barnett had talked about this exact scenario playing out after he began speaking up publicly about Boeing related safety concerns following his 2017 retirement from the company. He worked for over 30 years as a quality manager for Boeing. And Freya Dick says that poor guy was Nikki Haley's first kill. Uh-oh. I didn't say that. I'm just reading that. This conversation, Jennifer said, included Barnett talking about his upcoming deposition in Charleston. Quote, "I know that he did not self-delete. There's no way. He loved life too much. He loved his family too much. He loved his brothers too much to put them through what they're going through right now," Jennifer said. Let's see, what's this? Jennifer, who last saw Barnett at her father's funeral in late February, where Barnett was one of the pallbearers, said she believed someone didn't like what he had to say and wanted to shut him up. That's why they made it look like suicide, Jennifer said. The friend's comments come as the lawyer for Barnett, Brian Knowles, cast doubt on Barnett's death being a suicide. Quote, "They found him in his truck from an alleged self-inflicted gunshot. We drove to the hotel and spoke with the police and the coroner." According to the New York Post, Knowles and fellow attorney Robert Turkowitz said, quote, "He was in very good spirits and really looking forward to putting this phase of his life behind him and moving on. We didn't see any indication he would take his own life. No one can believe it." Okay, well, let's see. Boeing whistleblower John Barnett made powerful enemies before his death as workers skeptical that he killed himself. Okay. Let's see. Boeing workers warn that whistleblower John Barnett made powerful enemies before his alleged suicide as a puzzling discrepancy on his police report has emerged. The whistleblower was found dead in his pickup truck at a Charleston, South Carolina hotel parking lot on March 9th. The same morning, he was due to conclude private testimony in a lawsuit against the jet company where he had worked for most of his career. According to a report by Charleston police, he had extended his stay at the Holiday Inn until March 8th and was caught on video surveillance leaving the hotel that morning. However, staff at the Holiday Inn told the Post he ate dinner in the hotel's restaurant that night. The police also noted Barnett's driver's license was still in his room when he was found with a gunshot wound to the head and a pistol in his hand the following morning. Quote, here's one of the workers that he worked with. "It actually gives me a pit in my stomach because of what he's been saying, and he's dead now. Maybe he killed himself," the source said. "I don't know what to believe. We don't really talk about it on the assembly line. We're on camera from the minute we get on property. They can hear us. They can hear us. So no one wants to talk about it at work." Man, that's creepy. That is super creepy, is it not? A lot of people are skeptical because he made some pretty powerful enemies. Another Boeing employee who spoke to the Post said, "Nothing surprises me when it comes to Boeing. It's a good job, but you've got to stay in line. If you don't, you won't work there anymore." So they're afraid of talking about it because they're being listened to all the time, apparently. That's interesting. Boeing did not directly address the claims, but told the Post in a statement, "We are saddened by Mr. Barnett's passing, and our thoughts are with his family and friends." I wonder if they're really sad. I'm not saying that they did anything. I'm just, it's convenient for them, right? Says here, meanwhile, an employee who works at the Holiday Inn where Barnett was found in the parking lot told the Post that Barnett ate a quesadilla, drank a Coke, scrolled on his phone, and seemed fine on the evening of March 8th. Quote, I didn't think of him at all until I heard the news the next day. He didn't seem upset at all, the employee said. So that's the plane where the door flew off, the Boeing plane where the door flew off mid-flight. So that wasn't good. There's the door there. Now, Barnett was a quality control engineer who worked for Boeing for more than 3 decades before he retired in 2017. But 2 years later, he told the BBC that Boeing cut corners by rushing to get its 787 Dreamliner jets off the production line and into service. He gave numerous interviews describing how he had complained internally to the company about what he claimed were serious safety flaws he had detected. Now, so that would be 2019, and there's been a lot that's gone on with Boeing since then. There's a lot of scrutiny on them since then, and you have this guy who was a safety inspector who worked for safety for Boeing, who was about to testify against them, and he said, if anything happens to me, I didn't kill myself, and something happened to him. And they're saying that he committed suicide. Okay, there's a lot that's been going on. Boeing has recently been plagued by safety concerns that began January 5th after a door panel flew off a Boeing 737 MAX 9 jet during a flight from Oregon to California. The plane appeared to be missing 4 key bolts. That seems like a safety issue to me. Let's see. Scott Kirby, CEO of United Airlines, threatened to shun Boeing after the carrier's fleet of MAX 9 aircraft was grounded in the wake of the near-disastrous Alaska Airlines door blowout. Jennifer Homendy, chair of the National Transportation Safety Board, warned that another mid-air door blowout, like the 737 MAX 9 fiasco, can happen again, adding there was a problem with the process of production. So the last thing Boeing needs right now is a whistleblower testifying, right? I can't imagine they'd like that. Boeing plane forced to make an emergency landing in Japan due to a crack in the cockpit window. Seems like quality control problems to me. A Boeing 757 lost its front tire as the aircraft was preparing to depart for an international flight in late January. That seems pretty bad too. Let's see. A UK passenger was alarmed after noticing pieces of tape on the exterior of a Boeing 787 during a flight to India. So fixing it with tape. A United Airlines Boeing 777 suffered a mid-air fuel leak and was forced to make an emergency landing Monday, March 11th, marking the 5th incident the airline reported in little over a week. Jesus. Whistleblower John Barnett raised safety concerns at the airline's factories and provided his first testimony at a bombshell lawsuit against Boeing. He was found dead in his truck after he failed to show up for the second part of his testimony on Monday. Oh boy. Barnett said the company had not taken action, spurring him to go public out of concern for the public's safety. His lawyers are challenging the notion that he committed suicide and are calling for a thorough investigation. Quote, we need more information about what happened to John. The Charleston police intend to investigate this fully and accurately and tell the public. Quote, we didn't see any indication he would take his own life. No one can believe it. No detail can be left unturned. Now, this is interesting. Steve Chancellor, who has written 2 books on staged crime scenes and runs Second Look training and forensic consulting, said that when someone dies by suicide, the gun only remains in the person's hand 25% of the time. The mere fact that the gun was in the hand, I would pay attention to that. Because many times when someone is trying to make it look like a suicide, they make that mistake and they put the gun in the hand. And that's not conclusive, but the whole thing just seems, it seems suspicious. I mean, look, it's speculation, right? But it feels like a movie. Maybe Russell Crowe might be like a journalist investigating it or something. I don't know. It feels like a novel or a movie kind of. Friedrich says, diversity air. You fly, you die. Well, funny you should say that. Because I've got this lined up. Boeing prioritizing diversity and inclusion over flyer safety. Elon Musk says after near catastrophic Alaska Airlines mishap. So what did he say? So he tweeted this or X'd or posted. I don't know what you say anymore. Do you want to fly in an airplane where they prioritized DEI hiring over your safety? That is actually happening. And he was talking about this leak here. They're talking, and it's what changes to their program design. See, 2021, you've got financial performance, then you've got operational performance, and you've got here product safety, employee safety, quality. So there's just that. 2022, you've got product safety, employee safety, quality. Also, climate, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So they've added that on as an additional thing, which of course takes resources. And when you're talking about equity, what that means is, less white men, less straight white men. That's what it means. So what that means is that you're going to shrink your talent pool down. So you are less likely. It's not that you can't possibly get qualified people. It's just that you're less likely to get the most quality. And if you just repeat that over and over again, you won't. You'll look in the aggregate, and you will not be having the top talent because it's just a numbers game. That's all it is. Doesn't say anything about any race in particular other than just, these are the demographics, and it's a numbers game. You're just less likely to get the best people. It's like engineering. If, there are women engineers, there's really good women engineers. There's just a lot less of them. So if you've got, 10 engineering jobs up and you're determined to have gender equity, so 5 women, 5 men, well, you're going to be choosing those women from a much smaller talent pool. And there's going to be many more male engineers, and you're more likely to get the most talented ones out of the larger pool because, again, it's just a numbers game. So, yeah, this has come out. This was a little bit of a scandal, too. Their DEI bullshit behind the scenes. Probably not really great timing. There's all of these incidents. And, very dangerous. I mean, a door flying off the plane, blowing off the plane in midair. Yeah, that's not ideal. So Boeing's under an enormous amount of pressure. And then a whistleblower who was supposed to testify against them the next day ends up committing suicide after he said, if anything happens to me, it's definitely not suicide. I personally am going to say, I don't know, and I don't have any evidence that they did, but I'm going to say they definitely did. No, I don't know. The whole thing just looks weird, though, right? That's the whole point. All right. Renovadio says Epstein 100%. Oh, boy. That's bold. It's a bold statement. Let's see. Friedrich says, yes, Boeing killed this poor man. Who would eat a quesadilla for his last meal? That's an excellent point, actually. Excellent point. You get a clap for that. Who would get a quesadilla, like a hotel quesadilla, keep in mind, too? This is not like some fancy restaurant quesadilla. This is a hotel. What is it, Holiday Inn quesadilla? I don't think that's how most people would want to go out. In fact, I think that's an excellent, excellent point. That's like a Sherlock Holmes point right there. That is excellent sleuthing right there. Cap says, if he just happened to die, I would be suspicious, but hard to say. The fact that he committed suicide, in quotes, makes me totally certain they did it. Yeah, that's a good point as well, isn't it? I mean, because freak accidents do happen, right? People will just be driving down the wrong side of the road or something. Weird stuff happens. But the fact that it was a quote unquote suicide makes it kind of all the more suspicious, especially considering that he told his friend, if anything happens, it's not suicide.